Every man should be approaching women. This sounds like a crazy thing to say. It's kind of weird. Like, approaching girls, it's not a very normal thing to do. It's something for pickup artists, sex addicts, people who just don't fit in. It's something for them. But we live in a generation where cowardice is the norm, where it is very easy to become a coward. Now, no one watching this is going to say, yes, I am a coward. But we live in a world where men are doormats who can't speak for themselves, who have no ambition, who are achieving nothing of meaning. 70% of Americans are overweight. We lack discipline, we lack self-control, we lack purpose, and we become very weak as a whole, on average. And approaching women is one of the best ways to fight against that, to be an exception to that rule. And the good thing is, because so many men are very weak, if you develop courage, you develop self-confidence, you become someone who's willing to take risks, then you instantly have a lot of power. Approaching women is anxiety-provoking. It is a gut-level fear that we all share of being rejected. It's the same fear of public speaking. We all know that studies have shown that people are more afraid of public speaking than of death. And it's because back in the evolutionary past, hundreds of thousands of years ago, if you got rejected socially, you could lose access to the tribe. You could be kicked out of the tribe. If you hit on the wrong woman, you could end up getting your skull bashed in. Literally, that's how it used to be. And although our situation today, there's nothing bad that can happen from approaching a girl. But we still have that wiring in our brain that says you should be afraid of this. And when you face that, you develop courage. Back in the day, men had no choice but to develop courage because we were put into horrendous situations. Whether that's the 20th century being war, society never used to be safe. But now we live cushy, as they say in the office, Nerf lives. We are more comfortable than we've ever been in the past. We're more safe than we've ever been in the past. We do not have to take risks. And unfortunately, the human mind's default is if we don't have to take risks, if we don't have to challenge ourselves, then we won't. But approaching women is something that most men are too afraid to do. And if you become one of the exceptions, you will have characteristics that most men don't have. Discipline, courage, willpower. It's a difficult thing to do. You will get rejected. But every time you get rejected, you care a little bit less what other people think about you. You become a little less afraid of making the wrong impression, of this need to be super nice and super agreeable and fake. It helps you take off that mask that most people wear. So in the modern world, approaching women is actually a very powerful thing to do. Not because it'll get you laid, not because of the tangible benefits. That's not even the main point I'm talking about. It's because in the first world, our lives are too easy for our own good. That's why we're fat. That's why we're lazy. That's why we are consumers who spend hours per day doing nothing, numbing our brains with content that we don't even want to watch, watching the same TV show the 20th time. I know because I've done it. It's a very easy trap to fall into. Approaching women has changed my life in that, yes, I have dated many beautiful women that I would not have dated otherwise. I have become much more confident and charismatic than I was otherwise. But it's also the reason that I've been able to easily build an online business that makes me multiple six figures per year, because it helped me become a risk taker. That aversion to taking risks, that fear of rejection, that fear of things going wrong, that discomfort with the unknown, It forced me to face all of those things head on, and it gave me the soft skills, the character traits that allowed me to become more successful in just a few years than I previously ever thought possible. I was literally raised in high school. I lived for several years in a trailer, and it was actually a side trailer to a larger trailer. I didn't even have my own bed. I slept on a long couch. We had a 10-inch black and white TV, and this is in the 2000s. That's where I come from. And even just 5-6 years ago, I was completely broke. There was no reason to think I could be successful. But it was approaching women that changed my mentality, changed my mindset to become capable of achieving many other things. And not only that, I was someone who was diagnosed with panic disorder and social anxiety, very severe panic disorder. When I was 19, I've had panic attacks where I've literally called an ambulance because that's how certain I was. That's how much suffering I was in the state of a panic attack. I was certain that I was about to die, and I called an ambulance. I've had experiences that were more intense than I can even describe, and I was constantly in a state of just constant discomfort, never feeling okay. But approaching women was what ended up treating my social anxiety more than anything else, and that reduced my level of anxiety in general more than anything else. Because when you face things that are difficult and you lean into that, you expand. And what anxiety is a contraction. It makes you want to avoid more and more things. Oh, going to the gym gives me anxiety. Stop going to the gym. Oh, going to the mall gives me anxiety. Stop going to the mall. Oh, being in class. The first time I went to college, I dropped out after my second semester because I couldn't stay in classes without having such intense anxiety that I felt this need to leave. Just being in class. So I would stop going to class. Approaching women, more than anything else, I had therapy, I tried medications. There's many different things that were beneficial. But the number one thing that helped treat my anxiety, as well as symptoms of depression, was approaching women. Now, I'm not saying that's the only thing you can do that will help. Anything where you're challenging yourself will help. Going to the gym, building a business, learning an instrument. But what's unique about approaching women is you're not just challenging yourself, you're also facing a universal fear. The fear that I think in many ways is what holds people back from enjoying life more than anything else. Because I remember even being at a Christmas dinner, I used to be so in my head and so uncomfortable and overthinking and wondering about my impression. People are judging me, all that kind of shit constantly, to the point that I couldn't even enjoy being with my family. I couldn't enjoy hanging out with other people. And now those experiences, that's the highlight of my day. It's just hanging out with friends. And that's why I believe every man should approach women. Not to be a pickup artist, not to get a high lay count. That stuff, whatever. It's to develop your character. It's to develop courage. It's to become someone who isn't every year shrinking into themselves more and more and more, contracting more and more, moving towards entropy every day. It's a great way to challenge yourself and to overcome so many of the debilitating limiting beliefs and fears that we all have. The fear of rejection, the limiting belief that you're just not good enough, that women don't like you. So if this resonates with you and you see how approaching women can be a method for self-improvement, you can start going out and just see what happens, hope you're able to figure it out. Or if you want a step-by-step guide to how to break down the process of approaching and attracting women into something that is very simple and easy to actually achieve, then click the link below to get a copy of my online course, The Spark, which includes a 30-day challenge that breaks everything down for you so that even if you've never approached a girl in your life, you'll be able to overcome everything that's holding you back and have a foolproof strategy for not only doing that first approach, but to approach women in a way that makes their day better, that they appreciate, and that often leads to good results, like a date or maybe even a girlfriend. So click the link below to learn more about that.